Oh, we are live. Now we're live, but I don't see the feed up yet. Okay, there we go. I see it just popped up. Okie doke. All right, what's up, everybody? Happy Wednesday. Happy Wealth Building Wednesday. We're here once again. I'm here.
Muted. Oh,
No,
muted on that
I'm
side.
muted. Yeah, I have to stay muted.
Okay.
All right. You good?
Got it.
Okay.
Happy Wednesday.
What's up?
We are half awake and half asleep.
I don't know about that. I'm wide awake.
Oh, he's wide awake.
I am wide awake.
Crazy market out here. Crazy market.
Right now, the real estate market is on fire with no inventory. So there's no way to put out the fire, it seems like. Sometimes they're going to homes and they're having 40 and 50 offers on a home and cannot get an accepted offer. So this is kind of a crazy situation that we're in when it comes to the home market. But that's not what we're here to discuss tonight. Tonight, we're talking about preparing the next generation for wealth. That's the topic of our conversation.
That's a very serious topic.
Yeah, absolutely. Preparing the next generation for wealth. And I was reading an article, really, the topic of our conversation comes from an article that I was reading from Kathleen J. How-Harak. I hope I pronounced her name correctly, but it was talking about over the next 30 to 40 years, 30 trillion in financial and non-financial assets is expected to pass from the baby boomers. So this next generation is expected to be the wealthiest generation in U.S. history.
Wow.
And I found that simply amazing. Because of to be the heirs of,
all this money.
All of this money, exactly.
That we're supposed to be making?
That the next generation is supposed to basically start to inherit.
Okay, so that who is making though? Is it us?
We're making
this generation making it.
This generation right now.
And the next generation inheriting it?
Exactly.
Okay.
Well, we're in that. We're right on that borderline of that generation that is inheriting a lot of the next generational wealth that is going to be transferred. I couldn't get it out. Transferred to that next generation that's coming up.
Okay, got it.
Okay. But, and basically it said I'm just going to read a little piece of the article. It said, how can you help your clients have a successful wealth transfer to future generations in addition to creating, to manage wealth, to creating a will and an estate plan? You can help your clients take steps to make sure that their heirs are equipped to manage wealth and to understand what your wishes are for the assets they receive. In short, a conversation starter to share with your clients that can help prepare their children, grandchildren, and others receive an inheritance. That's an excerpt from the article.
Okay.
I got it.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So where do you want to begin? Where do you think we should begin with talking about passing on wealth to the next generation?
Well, I know one thing that is very important to do is to make sure that if you are up there in age, are we talking about techniques that we should be doing, or are you talking about techniques?
Techniques,
things that we should be doing,
the things that we should be putting in place.
Well, for one, a will,
mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's very important to talk to, even if you're young, talk about drawing up a will for the assets that you don't have. You don't want it going to the government, so you want it going to your loved ones instead.
Mm-hmm.
So I think we had started a will when we were like 30. Mm-hmm. Or a little
older. I think a little older.
No, I think we did one when, because we did it with Jay and Lori, actually.
Yes.
And I'm waiting to see them on the call, but I don't see them. You may have to tag them in.
Okay.
But, we did.
I'm trying to see if there's anybody on here with any comments because I don't see the comments like how it normally does. So I'm
Oh,
just trying
okay.
to
Hold
see.
on. We're trying to see if we
I
can
think it's over there.
this way.
Nope.
Nope.
Okay. Is it
Nope.
live? Do you have it on?
I thought I did.
I don't think you did. I don't think you went live. I don't think you went live on
Nope.
Instagram.
Okay. Let me try it again.
Okay. We're going to go live on Instagram. Give us a second with our little technical issues right here. We're trying to be in a couple of different places. There we go. We're live now because now it says live.
Oh, okay. Got it.
We weren't live before.
I did it before, but I think what happened is it didn't go through. So we're live now on Instagram. So,
okay.
Here you go. Hey, Simone, how are you?
Lori and Jay just said good evening.
Good evening.
So,
all right, we're up and running now. Before we were talking to ourselves, so we need to start over.
do we really got to start over?
Well, we're talking about the 6 conversations to prepare the next generation for wealth, right? So,
absolutely.
I think this is a very, very important conversation. And some of the things, Curtis actually did the research on this. And where we're getting this from is from a woman named Kathleen Howe Harak. So we hope we're saying it correctly, but that is her name. And she has some things that are conversations that you need to start talking about when it comes to leaving the next generation some money or some assets. So what is valuable to us instead of it going to the government or just, being on hold for a little while and no one can access it. Absolutely. So I can also speak on this a little bit, and I know Curtis can as well.
Yeah,
some of the things that we need to be. Right now. Yeah, because he's dealing with that now. And I had a family member that passed that they dealt with that as well. So we're going to talk to. It's a somber topic.
No, I don't think it's a really somber topic.
You don't think so?
No, not at all. I mean, honestly, because, preparation is key for everything.
That's right.
Preparation is key for everything. So there's nothing to be somber about. I mean, of course, with my situation, your situation as well. I mean, we both had a lot of losses over the past 2 years, 3 years, between your dad and cousin and my dad and my mom and
we're not the only one experiencing.
No, we're not the
losses.
only one. We're not the only. Listen, there's over 500,000 people in the U.S. right now that have experienced that loss. So, with that being said, I think this is a great conversation to have because there's, when one person leaves, I mean, it's like passing on the baton. Yes. So that's what wealth is supposed to do. Wealth is supposed to be able to be created to be able to pass on to that next generation. And if they're not prepared, they won't know what to do with the wealth that they attain.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I see Leslie just joined. Leslie, I have to apologize. I think I told you we were going to talk about purchasing a home, and the steps in that and new construction. And we're going to talk about that possibly next week. Okay. Because we had a change of plans on what we spoke about. Curtis had done some research about this topic. So we're happy to bring this topic about preparing the next generation for wealth. Okay. All right. So where do we start here?
Well, it's again, we're talking about the housing market. That was we began.
We began with the housing market. How crazy it is.
How crazy the housing market is right now.
Yes.
So that pardon us for our slight delay this evening as well, because I'm busy trying to write contracts and get people into homes to have some wealth, to build some wealth. Yes. Because
lack of inventory.
But home ownership is definitely one of those keys to building wealth.
That is correct.
So that's a big part of leaving something to inherit to that next generation. So to have something to inherit, because if you ain't got nothing, you can't give nothing. Right?
I guess not. I guess not. So it's important if you have children, if you have nieces, nephews, family members that, you want to leave something to, of course, it's better to have something to leave than be a burden on anyone else. So let's begin talking about, managing your money, managing your family's money or your inheritance. So, let's say that you experience a situation where you are now the person that inherits your
$100,000.
$100,000.
What are
Okay.
you gonna do with it?
Well, I don't know. Some people probably spend it on shoes and bags. And what do you
Yeah.
think? What should we do with it?
The first thing to do with it is seek counsel,
Okay.
especially if you've never had that kind of money all at once.
Hmm.
I think the first thing to do is to seek out counsel, find someone that is in the financial field and knows how to manage money.
That is correct. Now, I would say something a little different too.
Oh,
I would say seek counsel, yes. But one of the resources that I would probably go to first to seek some type of counsel is YouTube. YouTube is very good, meaning that you can search anything on YouTube. I'm not saying that you should take the advice of everyone on YouTube, but I feel that there's some great information out there. So at least you can start with, what are the questions I should be asking the accountant, the attorney, the financial advisor, the CPA? What are these things, my insurance person? What are the questions that I should be asking before I just dip in, to a situation? Don't you agree? Don't you agree?
Absolutely.
I believe in research.
Yeah. You're big on research. I guess I'm big on research too, but not as big as you are.
Yes.
Yeah.
I like to research and I like to ask questions, or, some people are like this. All right, for me, I'm going to not talk about some people, I'm going to talk about me. I don't want to look completely ignorant when I go to someone and not know anything that I'm talking about. So I like little bits of information. So at least I know about something that I'm talking about. Okay. So
nobody
that's
knows.
for me.
Nobody knows everything anyway.
Yeah,
I know. It's good to have basic knowledge and those fundamental principles that are key. And that's why one of the topics in the article was, before you inherit wealth, you should have basic money skills, and a lot of people don't have those basic money skills: how to budget, how to plan.
Saving and invest. So let's talk about those skills. Okay, so we have saving and investing money. So if you don't know how to save, when you get $100,000 and you don't know how to invest, you're not going to know what to do with it. So getting paid with your worth, that's a thing that, some people don't even know what their worth is. And I'm just going to be honest. When I first started real estate, I don't think I knew what my worth was. Even years later, I still didn't know what my worth was. So it's not until recently that I said, you know what? I've got a lot of information in this head. I've been through a lot of experiences. My worth, and people will pay you your worth.
Absolutely.
But you have to know it first.
But you have to know it, and it takes time. It doesn't just happen. A lot of people just think that they can just walk into something and just run with it, and it doesn't work that way. It takes a while. I mean, we started out purchasing properties over 20 plus years ago. So to get to the point where we are now, I mean, people look at it now and like, oh man, you guys are doing so great. And I'm like, yeah, but you didn't see all of the sacrifice and everything else that, came about during those 20 plus years of getting us to where we are.
Correct.
Any comments or anything up there? Because, and again, people, this is just my, excerpt to you. we need the feedback. So we're looking for some That's why I said this is about conversations about preparing the next generation for wealth. It's a conversation, and it's no conversation if I ain't got nobody. I mean, I do have my lovely wife here to conversate with as well, but we're looking to conversate with you guys. Right. So if there's, and just to kind of like even mastermind a little bit, whatever your take is on something, if you have an issue that you're thinking about or that you're going through, maybe somebody else is going through that same situation. Not only will you help us, but you'll help somebody else as well.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, okay. So when you get wealth, right, when you have inherited some money, now you have to learn how to spend wisely if you haven't been already. So, and creating and living within an appropriate budget and using your credit wisely. But the thing about it is, let's say you know all of this. Let's say you've been doing this and now you pass on, God forbid. Have you taught your family members, your children, the people that are going to inherit money if you pass on? Have you taught these people or had the conversation with them about what to do with this money if you're gone? It's one thing to have an insurance policy in place and be able to use that insurance policy to now pay for funeral expenses and things like that. But what about if there's a lump sum of money to pay off the house? Do your children know that that's what they're going to do? Do you know there's an option, a bill payment that you can make within your mortgage that you can actually have your mortgage paid off if something happens to you? Do you know these things? So if you don't, you should be calling your mortgage company and saying to them, if you have a mortgage payment, what if you get sick? I know Aflac, if you get sick, there are resources out there that it can assist
you. The duck, Aflac?
Yes, duck.
The little duck. Aflac. Okay. All right.
So, but let's talk basic money skills to your children, how to save. I remember when I used to save, when I started out saving, I don't remember having that conversation with my mom about saving money. But when I started out, I remember, I don't know where I got it from, but I remember these little envelopes that I decided to put together. So one would say vacation. I still do it now. I still have those envelopes there as reminders. So vacation, fun, things, church, tithing, stuff like that. And I would put in these little envelopes together and know that I got to put this amount of money, savings, this amount of money. So it's important to teach your kids even that much. Put the money aside, because if you put the money aside, you'll be able to then know how to save it, know how to budget it, know how to spend it. Okay. So it's important. I see a lot of times people leave kids with money and they have no idea. They're clueless.
They have no idea what to do with it.
Right.
It's still kind of it's definitely on topic. Matter of fact, and I was going to tell you later, but I'm going to tell you now, we just got a new client who happens to be an athlete, and he won a Super Bowl, and so
that's pretty awesome.
It is, and
I didn't know we had Super Bowl clients.
Yeah, we got a Super Bowl client, and he is now looking to figure out what to do with his money. So he called me today and had a conversation with him, and and we're working with him and looking forward to assisting him establish himself, purchase a home, and start that process, the foundation of building wealth.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah, and the reason why I was saying that is because a lot of times you get young people who get into something and they don't have an idea. They don't have a clue what to do. They get, a big lump sum of money passed down to them,
Mhm.
and then they're ready to go out, buy a car, and just pay for everything cash. And that's not smart, especially in today's economy.
Interest is low.
In today's
Money is
economy,
cheap.
money is cheap. So it
Take
make
advantage.
it take absolutely take advantage of it. And like I said, get somebody that knows how to help you position yourself.
Right. And when I say I don't want to sound like, okay, well, money's cheap, take advantage, go run up your credit cards. I'm not saying that.
Hmm.
What I'm saying is money is cheap, take advantage. If you have a home and you can borrow against your home, then you could buy another asset. If you're looking to purchase a vehicle, and now that you can purchase that vehicle at a very, very low interest rate, or you can finance your vehicle or refinance your house, do it now
Hmm.
before the rates
Before
raise
the
too
interest,
much, because they
exactly.
are going to raise.
Yeah, interest
We
rates are going up.
Yeah, so we can't continue to think that this is going to be a long-term thing.
Hmm.
So when I say, take advantage of the money is free, that does not mean run up your credit cards with stuff that you don't really need. Okay.
Exactly.
Um, that's that's my speech.
Okay. Well, I just want to see. We got a couple. I just shared it on my personal page, so I see we got a few more people that have joined on. Denise Harris, thank you for joining. Financial literacy, she said. Absolutely, that is definitely that's what we're here for, is to kind of have those conversations.
Mhm.
And today's topic was, conversations to prepare the next generation for wealth. So basically, we do this every Wednesday at 7 p.m. We come on and just have that conversation about building wealth, and different wealth topics is what we're touching on. So we would ask you guys to come on, join us. If you got any comments, please leave your comments. And we are here. We're reading the comments and we're going through it with you. And and we prepare ourselves and have some. Oh, you got a bunch of people there. It's not, why it's not scrolling. Okay, so Judy came on. You want to read who
Oh,
you got on
okay.
there?
Simone says she's trying to discipline herself with the envelope method. Yes, it's a very good method. I used it for years and it was amazing. Um, Also, Judy said, put it in a will or the instructions, how the money is to be spent, and also have trusted guardian oversee the financial benefits.
Hmm.
And I have to say something about that will, putting it and saying how it's to be spent too. Um, you know, that's a touchy subject. That's a touchy subject. So I'm going to come back to that probably at the end. But we're definitely going to come back to that. So for
Okay.
kids, adults, Judy said lump sums can be much for some of them at one time. That is correct. So that's why some people set up trusts for
Hmm.
kids, and within those trusts, they can have appoint an attorney to give them a certain amount of money after each milestone.
Hmm.
And that's tricky too, because what if one of your milestones is that kid has to graduate college, and they don't end up graduating college because they fell out of love for what they were doing. So, again, the conversation with your children, with your family members are very important. And it's not only important just for one time, the conversations are a continuing conversation. So every year,
Hmm.
okay, so like, when tragedy hit, we did talk to our children about, what some of our expectations would be, who would be in charge,
Hmm.
and things like that. And it for me, I didn't want to talk about it, but I
Hmm.
knew we had to talk about it, and
Hmm.
they received it well. They received it well because they knew that we were honest with them.
Hmm.
And I think that's very important. Sometimes if you write it in the will and don't discuss it, people are looking at the will and say, What? No, she didn't. So I think it's very important to have that conversation, prior to. They also talks about in this article uh, paying an allowance to start your kids off with a certain method of showing them how you do things. Pay them an allowance. And sometimes it's not just putting it in an envelope. Okay, you've done the envelope, you put the savings in the envelope. Now tell your kids, open a custodial bank account. That's what we did for our kids. And show
And I think they
them.
still need a custodial bank account. They still need somebody. I don't know. It makes me feel like I didn't do everything right.
Yeah.
But I know I listened. I gave him all the information that everything that I got, I gave.
Yes.
So
yes, you do the best you can
absolutely
with what you know and
with what you know. Absolutely.
So you open that custodial bank account and you allow them, you see what they're spending it on. They can have an actual credit card and or a bank account card where they can spend their money and you can see what they're spending it on. There are a lot of times when some of our kids would spend a lot of money on food.
Yeah, just going to Chick-fil-A, going to Chick-fil-A every day. They ready to run to Chick-fil-A.
And
Chick-fil-A ain't cheap.
We show them how your bank account just dissolves. When you could wait a couple of hours or whatever it may be.
Go in the kitchen and make something for yourself.
Right.
Save yourself a couple of bucks. Yeah.
So Simone just said, who's paying for the attorney? Well, I think it's good for you to pay for the attorney. You can pay for an attorney to draw up the contract in order to, and shop around attorneys too.
And there's a lot of different programs out there. I mean, seeing Lori and Jay on here made me think about what? Oh my goodness, what's the name of it? Legal Shield. Legal Shield.
Legal Shield.
Exactly.
That's what we had used when we were younger to draw up a
draft the will.
And it was reasonable compared to everywhere else that was charging us crazy amounts. So
and Legal Shield needs to give me my credit for that, because now listen, I whenever I mention something that I'm looking for somebody to endorse or send me some sort of endorsement, because if I'm mentioning your company and you ain't mentioning mine, I ain't really helping you too much.
But we're helping people out there.
Exactly.
So Legal Shield, Judy says that's what she does.
She says she has them. Okay.
Simone says,
go ahead.
He trying to read my comments, his comments,
go ahead,
everybody comments. Simone says, I mean, after I'm going to manage the will, who's going to pay for an attorney? Good question.
Okay, so whoever you leave it to, that's the person that you would leave to manage.
They have the responsibility
that's it.
Of paying for the attorney, unless you have put in the will that the executor will get paid this amount, by doing to get paid, a certain amount of money for carrying out the will. So you can set aside in your will that executor gets a dollar amount to be paid after everything is said and done to compensate them for paying for an attorney. Okay.
Absolutely.
Let's see. Okay.
Okay. Wealth. Where are we still at? Okay. So
wealth is meant to be shared.
Wealth is meant to be shared. Absolutely. It's if philanthropy isn't important to your family, sharing your charitable giving goals with your heirs can ensure they continue to use the money they inherit to positively impact others. So, sometimes a lot of people want to set aside a certain amount of money to give to a charitable organization, somebody that they know that's doing something positive. If you have, other people that you're not really sure of, I say, hey, listen, if my money's not going to go to something good, I don't want it going to waste.
That's true. Yeah.
So
Make sure it's someone or a church that's trusted, or
mhm,
someone that's a charity that you trust will do the right thing. Do your research on charity, and a lot of people set up trusts, so charities can be handled that way.
mhm,
Okay. And it's tax deductible, people, tax deductible. So think about things like that. Yeah. Okay.
mhm.
So it's meant to be given. When you have wealth, I believe firmly that it's not to be kept to yourself. It is to be shared and given. It's not to be abused by others either,
Mhm.
because sometimes people can take advantage of a good thing. So it's not to be abused by others, but it is to be shared. I believe in sharing the wealth. Okay.
Absolutely. And communicating that sometimes, we don't communicate, um, you know, with the person that you're leaving something to, because you want to leave a legacy.
Hmm.
It's really about the legacy that you leave. I mean, wealth is meant to leave a mark. And
Hmm.
how are you going to make your mark? Your wealth should be used as something too to make a statement for you.
That is correct.
That's what I look at. um so anytime that I leave something to my kids, or I have an expectation of what I want to leave behind.
Hmm. Okay, so what if you get, a child that says, listen, well, I am the baby.
Hmm.
I need this amount. I feel that this is what I deserve.
Hmm.
Being the baby of the family, I can't take care of myself. That role is a bit of entitlement.
That sound like a personal problem. You can't take care of yourself. That sounds like a personal problem.
It does sound like a personal problem, but and that's why the conversation needs to happen, because some children do feel entitled
Hmm.
to the family wealth, and they have a sense of responsibility when it comes to the money.
Hmm.
So that happens a lot. It's not rare. Okay, so it's important to communicate with all the parties involved before anything happens to you, that these are my wishes when I leave. And if your wishes change, you need to communicate that with people as well.
Hmm. Hmm.
Okay. So have a will so it doesn't go to the government, and then communicate with people to tell them exact, just in case it's unclear in the will. Your loved ones, if they know your heart, they will know how to execute that.
Clarity is power.
Clarity is power. One of my favorite sayings. Oh my gosh. Clarity is power.
Clarity is
Okay.
definitely power.
Now it says here to leave less cash. Consider leaving less cash and other assets to children who will inherit part of the family business.
Okay, but so the first thing too is, I mean, really that kind of flips back to the very beginning. Some people don't even have a business, having basic money skills, so
Mhm.
that they don't know anything about having a business. So how what are they leaving to someone? When you say inherit part of the family business, people need to know where to start a family business.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
And even when you inheriting something like a house,
Hmm.
do you know that some people will put their house in an LLC? So they have purchased that house within an LLC or within a trust for their family, and there's names on that trust.
Hmm.
And this way, nothing gets left behind or miscommunicated. So think about that as well. That may be an option. Let's go back a little bit. Simone said, "Is there a certain age for the custodial account?" I think with us, what
I think it's
age?
I think
Like,
it's up to 21 or something.
yeah, but when does it start? Do you remember? I think it was like,
It's from birth to
I don't
custodial.
think it was birth. Was it
Yeah,
birth?
I mean, really, whenever
We
whenever they're
started
older.
ours like 15, when they were
No,
15 or 14, I think.
yeah, probably about 14. I want to say about 14 when our kids got their custodial accounts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we
The
started.
for maybe a little younger, right before they got into high school or something like that.
Yeah.
And then there's something that that we did as a family. It was something that I kind of started with when the first kid hit 16. Gave them X amount of dollars to get them established, just to kind of see, what they would do with a nice little chunk of money. So say for instance, you give them $1,000 at 16 years old for their birthday, and and let them learn how to manage that, and how to either make it grow, or to see if they're going to grow it, or see if they're going to just dwindle it away. I mean, it's a very good indicator to see what your kids are going to do with money.
Absolutely. I'm not going to tell you who did pretty well. I'm just going to leave that to the imagination.
Yeah, every one of our kids were given something on their 16th birthday, and we kind of seen what they would do with it. Would they invest it? Would they try to start a business? I mean, I got to say our kids did pretty well. I got to give, for the most part, they did pretty well. I mean,
I'm just smiling. I'll just
you
smile.
just okay.
So Judy says prepaid legal is having a webinar next week for wills and trusts. Oh,
Okay.
that's awesome.
That's a good one.
So if you have the link for that, Judy, if you could send it to us, that'd be great.
Mm-hmm.
And then we could share it with everyone.
Okay. And on the Facebook page, Sid, my boy Sid, he said, "How you doing, Sid? Good to see you."
Hey, Sid.
Very important to communicate those things. Unfortunately, a lot of families do not discuss these topics, and that is the reason why we are doing this, because a lot of people do not discuss how to create wealth, how to keep wealth, and how to prepare the next generation for wealth. Because I mean, wealth is something that needs to be passed on.
Yes.
And you have to establish it somewhere. So why not let it be you? Start today. Start thinking about ways that you can start building and establishing some sort of wealth, something to leave behind, something to make a mark. I mean, we live with purpose.
Well, I think everyone on this call has an asset.
Absolutely.
If you're sitting there on your phone, you have an asset.
Mm-hmm.
So who are you going to leave it to?
Mm.
Start from there.
I don't know. Some people might want to die with their phone. I don't know.
All right, we're going to leave that alone. We're going to leave that alone.
Oh, boy.
Okay. Okay, so make special arrangement to spendthrift children or grandchildren, or those who struggle with substance abuse or other problems, including use of trust. There's that trust again, to manage how and when their money is distributed over time. So we talked about that. Consider gifting a portion of the money to children during your lifetime, so they receive it gradually than in a lump sum.
Absolutely. Yeah,
I think that's good too.
That's what we were saying earlier, talking about, somebody getting a whole lot at once. A lot of times they don't know what to do with it. They go out and spend it on a bunch of frivolous things. And then the next thing they know, you got to think long term. You're looking further than just, next week.
That is correct. Is correct.
And I think that's a big thing with this generation. I mean, and like we said in the very beginning of this article, I just want to read that again one more time so that people kind of get a good grasp of what we're talking about. They said over the next 30 to 40 years, 30 trillion in financial and non-financial assets is expected to pass from the baby boomers. That was the generation right in front of us. The wealthiest generation the baby boomers, the wealthiest generation in U.S. history, to their heirs. So, I mean, with everything that's going on in the world, with everything that's going on in the world, I mean, you kind of can see that. You can see it happening, because I mean, like I said, we've had over 500,000 people leave this earth within the last year. So all of those people had something. They took up some sort of space.
That is correct.
So they all had something. So there's something that all of those people left behind.
Yes.
Besides a whole bunch of broken hearts.
Yeah.
But with those broken hearts, there's still a lot of people that inherited something, and hopefully they know what to do with what it is that they've inherited.
Yes. So have the conversation, grown adults, and know your parents are older and you don't want to talk about it. Just the
Yeah.
thought of it, hurts your heart, but it's a conversation that needs to be had, because there was one thing that someone that I knew did, and I thought that was very smart of her to do. What she did was she knew that she was ill, which a lot of people don't even get that opportunity. Like they don't get to change things around or figure things out. So the first thing she did was put her kid's name on her home. So this way it didn't have to be tied up in any kind of long drawn out probate or anything like that.
And that's another topic within itself.
Yeah,
probate.
that's a topic
Some people don't even know what probate is.
Yeah. Well, honestly, I would probably get an attorney to come on and talk about probate and the things that you have to look for. I went to a class about probate, but I'm not licensed to talk about it, so I'm not going to. But sometimes, as a realtor, we see that, things are tied up in probate and no one can do anything with the property until everybody is in agreement that the property has to be sold. Okay, that's basically what happens. Okay, so all right, so financial and tax advisors are important for financial planning. It is just really important at an early age, as early as possible. Have your children sit on with financial meetings with you. We used to sit there and try to have those financial meetings, and every now and again, we'll go ahead and visit it and just explain, to everyone, what are we paying out? And maybe might be a fear tactic, because once they saw that, they were like, "Whoa, you paid that much out?"
Yeah.
But ask for suggestions. Treat them as they are at the table making the decisions with you, because one day you may not be there, and they will have to sit at the table with their siblings and discuss that. What do we do here? How do we adjust? How do we save money here? Things of that nature, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So we have to get back on our grind, because we had left that alone, leaving they're not really out of the conversation, but they're just too busy to be a part of it. So we need to regroup. That's why I love, doing this wealth building, because there's some things that I forget that we had implemented, and then some things that you leave behind and you need to pick back up because they were important. Okay, so I would strongly suggest that you have a family conversation. Kids involved, when they get old enough to understand, listen, mommy and daddy's discussing bills. I remember there was a time when, I'd see, family members, they'd discuss bills and stuff, and everybody would walk around tight. They didn't want to talk to each other because they were talking about the bills. What? You done spent $200 on those darn shoes. And the kids didn't know what was going on, so you're like, what is going on? But I think if you have a clear understanding of, okay, well, it's about the 15th of the month, daddy's about to get a little tight. So, let's have the conversation, and I'm not saying the kids should be in every single aspect, but at a certain age, they're grown enough to handle it.
Yes.
Right? We don't push them out of conversation. We pull them in so they can gain knowledge. And how we treat each other when it comes to money is how they're going to learn how to treat their spouses and deal with their situations and not get stressed out when it comes to money.
Yeah.
So be the example.
Yeah, absolutely. Because, our kids would never have known the stresses that we were going through back in 2008.
Nope, they just seen cars disappearing.
It's like, hold on, why you get rid of the truck? Why you get rid of the truck and you're driving a Versa?
They be like, what happened to our truck? What happened to our Denali?
Oh,
So being honest and
Mhm.
saying, you know what, we're downsizing because we have to save money is very important. So they're not wondering what's going on. I mean, we can laugh about it now, but at the time it wasn't funny. But we still weren't treating each other poorly because of it. And I think that's important. And I hope they took that away from that. Okay, from that situation.
Wealth building, wealth building and the conversation of, generating income is a topic that needs to be, in everybody's home, because that's the only way to start successfully building wealth. To successfully build wealth is to have the conversation. So, that's why I enjoy our Wednesdays doing this, because we get a chance to, have the conversation, think about where we've came from, and kind of plan for the future as well, but also to try to get feedback from other people and to go from there.
Hey, how are you, Shanta? She said, hey, Carlene and Curtis, always dropping gems. Thank you for including the children. Absolutely. We have to include them. It's important that they are part of the decision making. So here's the thing. And this is what we didn't do. We didn't really take our financial professional. It says here to take your financial professional, like an accountant, and have them sit in on a conversation so they know what questions to ask. And I think that's so important, because I don't know if our kids sat down with an accountant or a financial planner, if they would know what to ask. We never really thought about that.
We've never done that.
Yeah. We're probably going to implement that, if when everyone's together for around Thanksgiving and things like that, we can think about planning. Or when we go on our big vacation, usually every year, we'll do that. Maybe get everyone together and have them ask questions. And if you're paying your financial advisor and you're paying your accountant, I'm sure your accountant would take time out to be able to sit on the conversation with your kids.
Absolutely.
I think that's awesome.
That's definitely a key point that needs to be had. And honestly, I never thought about that. It's funny because, Madison asked about her taxes and we're like, oh, we just send it over to Raj,
Yeah, but she wanted to be a part of it this time. She said, oh, okay, well, aren't I filing independent? Yeah, you are, but nope. So she wanted to do it, and I thought that was cool. So she communicated with him about her taxes and stuff, and that felt pretty good.
It does. It feels real good to know that hopefully she gets some money back and she can give me some of it, to pay some rent.
No, she ain't giving you no money back. I'm just laughing that way. Sometimes people say stuff, you gotta be like, man, you know better than that. Okay, all right. So we're gonna express the goals and concerns. We're gonna wrap it up soon here too. And what you expect them to do with the money that they have earned too. You're gonna, it would be nice to have that conversation. Say, what would you do? Just sit there and ask your kids today, what would you do if I left you a house? Or what would you do if I left you, the insurance policy says
or your Tesla.
Leave who? My Tesla.
I knew that was going to get a good. I knew that was going to get a good reaction. That's why I said it. I wanted to see what she was about to say about that.
Don't bring the Tesla into this. And that's the thing. Like
you scratching your head.
You're scratching my head, wondering why he bought that up. But so what are you gonna do? what do I expect you
them
to
to
do
What do you
with
expect
this
them
money that you have?
Mhm.
Okay, so I think that's great, and that all comes within the conversation.
Lori said, "What a beautiful car, my sister.
Aw,
Congrats."
thank you so much.
Yeah,
Thank you so much.
but
Okay, protect the family wealth. Be careful who you trust. Yes,
absolutely.
that's very important.
You know,
Very
it
important.
says along with making introductions to your trusted advisor, you can warn your heirs to be mindful of trusting others with their money. So you really do need to have a good relationship with the person that, you know, that's going to help you to manage your money, or to advise you on how to manage your money.
Hmm.
Okay.
Absolutely. So, what I hope this made you think of today, because it brought up some things that we have to get started again. We have to get started again our financial family meeting instead of just our financial meeting between us. So we have to put that on the calendar.
Mhm.
Remember, if it's not on your calendar,
It
it does
doesn't
not
exist.
exist. That's what we learn in real estate, and that's what I'm telling to you today. So if you are planning to do some of these things that I talked about, just like the whole what was that, the legal shield,
Hmm.
if you're planning to do legal shield, put it on your calendar when you're going to look it up. You may look it up, and now you may say, hey Siri, or hey whoever, remind me to look up legal shield, and things like that. So put things in action. Don't just listen about it. Custodial accounts, put it in action. Things of that nature. Look at your will.
Hmm.
Write down the things that you feel are of value, and
Hmm.
think about who will you leave that to. Okay, so that's it. I think, you guys, I think we've
Yeah,
kind of
we
wrapped it up.
Yeah, and I mean, really, in summary, it says successful wealth transfer plans not only facilitate the transition of wealth, but also equip heirs to manage their inheritance wisely, using regular family meetings, like we discussed, as a foundation. The process of sharing the knowledge, values, and philosophies about money. And in the end, your heirs will use the money as they want, but laying a strong foundation can help pave the way for them to use it wisely and pass it on to the future generations. Because that's what it's all about. It's about passing it on to the next generation. Like I said, wealth is like a baton. It's to be passed on. We can't take none of this stuff with us.
Mm-mm, not even that Tesla.
Not even that Tesla. I'm glad you said it and not me. I was gonna say it though. I was gonna say
Not
it.
even that Tesla. Can't
No,
take it with me.
no.
Okay, now Judy did say the will and trust webinar is
Hmm.
March 23rd. Judy, my email address is Carlene Grimes at gmail.com. That's KARLENE Grimes, GRIMES at gmail.com. So you can email me that information, and I'll put it on there.
Hmm.
So I think that's a wrap, you guys, unless you have anything else to say.
Yeah, we're looking for questions and comments. I mean, we kind of like I said, this forum is more. Again, tonight was preparing the next generation for wealth, having the conversation to prepare the next generation for wealth. So, we have to have those conversations, and it's great that we're able to do this, and we enjoy doing it. But again, we can't do it without that reciprocation. We need the reciprocation. So we're looking for more people to join us with whatever your questions, your comments. Let us know what you got to say, whatever you think. uh
Yeah,
we're looking for you to join us.
absolutely. And you could always email or text us after.
Yeah, well.
Maybe we'll cover it for the next session.
Hmm.
Okay, so yes, so Judy, oops, did I do something?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, so I paused it. Okay, so I
Hmm.
have to look at that after, because Judy just emailed me the information. Thank you, Judy.
Hmm.
So I that's it. I don't think there's any
No,
questions or comments or anything.
no,
You know,
nobody. Hmm.
people always make this joke. Like, I forgot who I was talking to the other day, and they said, "My wealth, I'm spending it all." Sometimes you make that joke too. I'm spending it all. I ain't leaving nothing more, nothing for them to spend. I'm spending every last dime.
Hmm.
And sometimes we feel that way, but truth be told,
Mm-hmm.
you want to have your ears be able to enjoy something. And like Steve Harvey once said,
Mm-hmm.
my grandchildren will know, my children will know who I was.
Mm-hmm.
My grandchildren will know who I was.
My great
My
grandchildren will
great
know.
grandchildren will
Right.
know who I was. Now, the great, 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 great grandchildren, the only way they know who I was is if I leave them.
That's it. If you leave them something,
If
you
I
leave them
leave
something.
them
They be like,
something.
"Who gave me that?" They be like, "Who gave me that?" That's it.
Or at least whose name is that on the street? That's your granddaddy, such and such. So
Mm-hmm.
we want to be able to leave our children something.
Absolutely.
Okay. Well,
That's
listen,
it.
you guys.
This
There's
is our little mark in the world. Hopefully, we've imparted something that we've left behind to you guys as well.
yes, yes.
While we're still here, and that's the other thing. It's not about leaving something just when you're gone. It's about leaving something while you're still here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. Amen to that.
Mm-hmm.
Shanta,
Shanta said, "Amen."
Amen. Hands up.
Yes, indeed.
All right, you guys. Well, we love you guys, and I guess we will see you next week, Wednesday at 7 p.m.
All
Love
right.
you too, Shanta.
Look forward to it.
All right. Talk
Have
to
a
you
good
soon.
evening.
Have a good evening. Bye-bye.